Just
La 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 la, spa spa, ooh la la. I love the Belgian Grand Prix.
you're not getting a repeat. I'm taking that as we're starting.
That was awful. That was
Well, it's tough.
awful.
We're stuck. You're stuck with that now, so we're going to start. So, if anybody hadn't guessed from Lucy's brilliant rendition there, we're talking about the Spa Grand Prix, or the Belgian Grand Prix at Spa Francorchamps. I butchered that
Oui.
pronunciation, but there you go.
Spa-Francorchamps.
10
You
out of
just
10.
got to get that little bit of throat in it.
Yeah,
The more spit
I
you can hear, the better.
that's how you get it all over somebody else. Let's actually talk about the race. What did you think of the race?
Well, this is the fun part. I actually did not see the race. I listened to the race.
Yeah. So you're going to be watching
So
along for the first time with the highlights.
I am going to be watching along for the first time with the highlights. So it's a really interesting one. It sounded like it was exciting, especially at the beginning. And then it kind of settled down, as races
Yeah, they always
tend.
do that once everybody settles into their different strategies. I have some thoughts on the race, but I'm going to talk about them in the end. I have kind of mixed views on it.
Okay.
But we are going to run through all the stewards' decisions because there were two kind of major ones this race that people have been talking about. One with Lewis Hamilton and George Russell, and one with Charles Leclerc and Oscar Piastri. So, with that in mind, if you've never watched us before, as usual, we're going to be watching the official highlights on the Formula One YouTube channel. So every time we call out a timestamp, that is what we're referring to. They're normally about 8 minutes or so long. That's how you'll know you've got the right one. In fact,
This is really exciting, actually, because
I will
having only
post the
listened to
link.
it, the commentators kind of paint a picture of what's going on in the race. But if you can't actually see it, you're kind of imagining it. So it's going to
Yeah.
be really interesting now. And I thought I'll deliberately wait until we do the recording to actually
Get your
react
first
for the first
reactions. Yeah.
time. I thought that's quite fun. So from lap one before. Am I good to just start
Yeah, I'll
yapping
let
before we
you.
start?
As soon as you've never seen it, I'll let you roll it on this time, and then we'll stop where you want to talk.
I don't know if I'm good at leading, but we can try it. But the very first thing that they described was like the start, obviously, and who got a good start and who didn't. But the main thing I remember from that lap one is Max Verstappen, Eau Rouge. So the commentators were absolutely losing their minds over this. I don't know if it was actually as good as they made it sound or if they were just trying to build up some hype. But any overtake at Eau Rouge is exciting and cool,
Well,
and I
give it
really
a
have it. Like
give it a watch
this is
then.
yeah.
Let's get your live reaction. Because this,
Okay.
so I've rolled it on to where they're at the top of the Eau Rouge, and that's about 30 seconds in. So it's about the
I'm
first
at
30
five
seconds.
seconds in.
So you can
I'm just
talk
gonna
us through
watch.
your initial reaction as you watch it.
Okay, so the cars, Kimi Antonelli's got a good launch, and then Max kind of sweeps to the outside, and then he's right behind him. And it doesn't really look like any move is on here as they go into Eau Rouge. We're kind of even looking at second and third. I mean third and fourth. Oh, is he just like
Yeah.
Bro, it's like he just spawns in out of no. Let me watch that back. It's
Yeah.
like I
So
didn't even
if you
see it as a
go,
viewer. It just happens. It's almost like he just defied physics
yeah. So if you
and
go
just
to 22 seconds, you'll see
okay.
it from that point. And the commentators on Sky were referring to, I can't remember who it was that he overtook, but it was Mark Webber did something very similar in Eau Rouge in the same way. And I can't remember who it was that he overtook. Now this obviously continues on down to turn 3. So if you want to keep playing on,
Yeah,
we'll continue
okay.
on down to turn 3.
Yeah.
To through I think it's 3 and 4.
Yeah, so when me and Dan were listening to this, because basically we were taking him home to the airport. Rest in peace, Dan. You would have loved the Belgian Grand Prix podcast. Anyway, um, and we just got off our train and we sat down on the like kind of concourse of the train station, and we just put BBC 5 Live on, and we just sat there and listened
Yeah.
to the race. were nearly late for our voyage because we spent so long at the train station. Um, but yeah, anyway, and when we were sat there watching it, I was genuinely thinking, like, that is so awesome that Max has done a move on Eau Rouge and has taken the lead. However, I know what's coming up next, and it's the Kemmel
Yeah.
Strait, and
Yeah.
that is
So
Slipstream Central. So I was expecting this to happen.
yeah, so if you keep playing on, play through your first reaction
Yep.
up to about 47 seconds is where I've paused it, and then
Okay.
there's some
Here
other
they
bits that we
come.
can talk about.
They're on the Kemmel Strait. Russell kind of just kind of gets him back. Not Russell. Did I say Russell? Antonelli. Oh, and that's for spin. Let me
Yeah.
watch that one more time.
So the
So
bit
you've
that she's
got
now watching is
so
Hamilton and Russell for those
yeah. So I've just
just
paused
tuning
it
in.
at 40 seconds, and he's got plenty of space there. And then if I just kind of go in like small increments, and so Hamilton's taking the corner, like on the, I guess, the racing line or whatever. He's following the cars in front, and Russell's kind of caught with nowhere to go. If he continues to avoid them, he's going to lose positions.
If we do continue on, there are
But
some onboards.
but he did, yeah. So then he's going for, because obviously it's a chicane, so he's kind of then going for the next corner because he's kept it on the outside, and now he's going, and he's gone. Sorry for the sound effects.
Perfect description.
Yeah, that's basically how racing is.
Yeah.
And then yeah, obviously then Hamilton's turning in. I would say, I mean, it's giving racing incident to me. I think, it's lap one, they're having a bit of a scuffle. Neither of them want to lose positions and take a wacky line, and you hope.
Yeah. Did you hear
I've
the
got the subtitles here. I don't know how much of a screen I'm allowed to show, but I will show the subtitles.
screaming?
It's for screaming.
Did you hear what the result of this was?
Hamilton got a penalty, didn't
Yes,
he?
he did.
Which, yeah, I think that is
So
quite harsh,
if we roll it
but I
on,
can understand it.
so I've just scanned ahead, and if we roll it on to 1 minute 17, there's a onboard of there's a replay from the top down, which gives you sort of a better idea of what's going on, and then there's an onboard from Hamilton's point of view.
Mm.
My opinion at the time was that this was a racing incident, regardless of the fact that it's lap one. And George Russell was of the same point of view, and he had this point of view before the penalty was given, which I think says a
I
lot
feel like
about
they
this.
should take that into account. If the driver himself is saying, it's all right, these
Yeah.
things happen. Like, he's the one in the cockpit who's just been hit.
The other thing is, me and my friends were talking about this when it happened because we both said this was very harsh, but they seem to have penalised the result of the collision, not the collision itself.
I would agree.
That is important when we talk about the Piastri incident later.
Okay.
I think if you also go and watch Hamilton's onboard, so I'm going to slow this down for my benefit here, so half speed. At 1 minute 22, if you watch carefully, you'll see they both go into the corner. Russell comes alongside. He's ahead of Hamilton, so he's entitled to the space. And if you watch carefully, as Russell comes down, so the initial, what the Sky commentators were saying, Martin Brundle and David Croft, was that Hamilton had a moment, and that's what put him into Russell. But if you watch it back carefully, Russell comes across, they touch, then Hamilton has his moment. I think that's what then results in Russell going off track. Yeah. Hamilton doesn't start putting opposite lock on until they've already touched. So I think it's very harsh that Hamilton got that penalty because the contact was the reason that Russell went off, regardless of whether it was just a touch first and then the second contact was what made him go off. But it was also lap one, and there was plenty of room for both of them on either side. Either of them could have just gone further apart. There was plenty of room for both of them. It's not like they were on the apex and Hamilton squeezed Russell off the track or something. They were literally in the transition from right to left.
Yeah, that's what I said, and I'm I'm not particularly wise on any of
Yeah.
this stuff, and even I could see that.
Yeah, at that time, Hamilton was still turning right. Then they touched, and then that's Hamilton had his oversteer moment, and that's what pushed Russell off. So I don't think that was deserved in any way. I just think it was very, very harsh. So
Yeah, I would agree, especially with Russell saying that he was like, "Yeah, whoopsie, it seems like that's a bit of a racing incident. These things happen."
yeah, exactly. So yeah, we got more people.
I don't want to interrupt the flow of our conversation, but I do want to say hello to all of the lovely lappers who are joining us live. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, and if you're watching on YouTube, find links below, and you can come watch us live next time. Next time we record, which is
we're fairly consistent on
Tuesday.
a Tuesday, but
yeah, it's going to be Tuesday. Tuesday
but not
after
this week. We're on a Thursday.
yeah, Tuesday after this is recorded. We normally go live the Tuesday after the race.
But we do have lives, and sometimes things go wacky.
Yes. So shall we continue on? I don't think there's anything more to be said about that incident. I think most people were in agreement. Didn't really see anybody saying anything to the contrary, to be honest. I don't think that was that much of a controversial take. The second incident was, though. But we'll get there. We'll get there. So
yes,
we'll continue on. I'll let you call out where you want to stop and talk next, since you're going to lead the show this week.
I don't want to lead the show. I'm not good at this.
You just have to sort of watch the video and talk about what's happening, because you've not seen any of this.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, because I've not seen any of it. I don't really know what's happening where.
Well,
like, it's quite hard.
Okay,
well, I'll just talk about what I'm seeing then.
Yeah.
Because I'm at lap 5. Is that crazy to be at lap 5?
You did skip over some of the smaller incidents. So
okay, I don't really care about the small. No, go on.
I'll talk through them. We had Carlos Sainz bump the back of Ocon, I think that was, into turn 1 on lap 1. A lot of this didn't get shown live because the cameras were concentrating on Russell and what was going on at the front.
They probably didn't even mention it on the radio one, because for me
there was a lot of complaints about the race direction this race, because they kind of just focused on the front cars, and the rest of the field basically got no airtime.
Yeah.
Other than the little boxes on the timing tree. So after Ocon's had his hit from Sainz, he had a little moment, an oversteer moment, and hit Behrman, the worst person he could have hit. And then one of them went off with broken front wing, I think it was. They both ended up stopping on lap 1. It's also not in this in the highlights.
I do remember that. I do remember that happening.
Yeah,
the radio commentators said, they were like, and the Hassers have touched each other. That's the last person you want to crash into. When you said that, it triggered the memory.
Ocon
and then I remember them saying, they were like, Ocon's been involved with lots of collisions with his teammate, but I will say I don't think this one was his fault. That's what they said.
I think Ocon had a moment, and it looked like from the video, you can see it in the highlights. I think he had his inside front wheel on the curb, and I think that just knocked him out a little sideways. So I think it was his fault, but teammate,
like,
so
yeah.
The
not
other
like
thing,
an intentional kind of hard racing thing. He was just kind of.
The other thing that I think is worth mentioning that's not been put in the highlights, because it's not really a highlight, Isaac Hadjar. Now, he started from the pit lane, so he was miles behind everybody else. The Red Bull team put him on hards with the intention of going long. Same strategy that Lando Norris had. The idea was go long and then switch at the end to then, see what places they could get. At this point in time, as soon as the safety car came out, because we had a full safety car on lap 1, he pitted, put softs on, and then on the following lap, he pitted again and put hards back on. So what this meant was, as much as, yes, you've got to do the entire race on hards, he didn't have any obligation to stop again, which I think was a smart move, because he then used the next 2 laps to catch up to the back of the field, and on the restart, which I'm just looking at 1 minute and 45, he's 0.2 of a second behind Ocon, who's in 20th place. And he's on the back of the train. So I think that was a smart move from Red Bull.
Yeah, and he can just make his way up the field.
Yeah, see,
I
chat's
would
agreeing
agree.
with chat's agreeing with us about the racing incident.
Yeah.
Yeah, racing incident could just stayed behind because Behrman was already side by side with another car. Yeah, it is what it is. Lap 1 shenanigans, as it were.
We love lap 1.
So, yeah.
But not as much as we love the last lap.
Okay, let's go on to the first lap after the safety car.
Okay. Yes, I wanted to speak about this.
I was just pressing play, and they were going really slowly. I was like, "Yeah, it's because I'm running the video at half speed."
I'd be opening lap, Lucy, if I was a lap 1 enjoyer.
I wondered why the cars were going slow. Yeah, Antonelli had a really good start with Leclerc. Like, the pair of them seemed to get away, and then Piastri, Hamilton, and Verstappen all fighting for third place. And at this point, it did look like a Ferrari double podium was on the cards. Until Hamilton slipped down to
158 right now.
Yes, let me go back.
And
yes.
This was quite exciting because Piastri is going to go for a move on Hamilton here. Yeah. And I just wanted to say, 1, really cool move. 2, really great camera work, I would say, the way that they've shown that whole overtake. Like, they start off showing that, look, Piastri's right behind. They've both opened their flaps. And then it cuts immediately to that really cool, like, camera on the downhill. And it goes, psh. Like, the camera operator timed that to perfection. Like, they understood the assignment. Like, they had a chance and they took it.
If you ever see the camera, if you ever see the camera people working, they move literally that quickly.
Yes. It's crazy. And that's the thing. They've got a heavy piece of machinery to move. They've got a split second to do it, and that's the thing. I don't know how to convey the speed that they're going down Eau Rouge at.
There's not much that gives a good idea of how fast Formula One cars go. The only real time you see it is when there's a static camera at track level, and when they come past you.
And they go.
If you ever get to watch Sky's footage, in practice, they tend to send Martin Brundle around the track, and he'll stand at the side of the circuit and commentate on what's going on. That you get a good sense of speed purely because he's stood on the circuit, and you get a good sense of the speed as they go past him. A fun moment is he gets to do the chicane in Monaco. You know, the bit at the bottom of the hill, and there's no barrier because there's no way of the cars ever coming off there, so they don't need a barrier. So he stood literally at the edge of the circuit with no barrier in front of him. It's kind of bizarre to see. So yeah, shall we continue on?
Yeah. I was just gonna say it's cool, and I love Eau Rouge and that whole section. And 2 years ago, I was at Spa, and I think seeing it, you see it on TV, and you're like, wow, that's cool. When you see it in real life, I hope that everyone watching this or listening to this gets to visit Spa at some point in their lives. It doesn't have to be for F1, just anything that goes fast. Or just bikes. Just walk there. Just walk around it if you can.
Just go and see racing cars in person.
Yes. I will never forget seeing the hill, the like Radion Hill, for the first time.
Yeah.
It literally, because there was like a support race was on. Sorry, I'm in a yappy mood today. And let me tell you, it felt like this water bottle is the car. It felt like the car was just going like that.
Yeah.
It was such a weird, like, optical illusion. And that's how high and steep it is.
Yeah, it's really steep.
And the cars just fly up it. It looks like they're just going upwards. It's insane. You can't picture. You have to see it with your 2 human eyeballs.
There's some stuff.
Or your yeah.
There's some stuff that doesn't come across well on TV. Speed is one of them. Elevation change is the other. It's the same when I first went to Brands Hatch, for example, Graham Hill Bend, the first corner, is very similar, but in the other direction. They're not, the elevation change isn't as much, but the change is just as dramatic. And I think another one is the Corkscrew in what's the track name? In America. I forget the name of the track. But that's similar in the way that it literally just drops down. That drops like 6 floors worth or something like that. It's insane, the drop in a short space of time. Laguna Seca.
I want to know that. Oh yeah, there we go.
Chat always
coming
knows.
in clutch. Thank you, chat.
There's a reason we do this live, and it's so we've got chat to help us. Shall we continue on? Because lap 8 is where the other incident happens, and I want your first reaction to this. So if you start at 2 minutes and 27, we start with Piastri's onboard.
Oops.
So we go up
I
top.
accidentally just pressed next video instead of going to the timestamp.
So if you go to the timestamp, you'll get them at the top of Eau Rouge. Piastri's onboard down the Kemmel Straight. When you load it back in, I want you to watch it, and I want your.
What was the timestamp again?
2:21, I think it was. Something like that.
Okay.
I'm
at 2:13. Should I just start watching? I'm going to hold it up so you can see that I'm reacting.
That's it. 2:27.
All right. Let's have a little look.
We're doing a Lucy Reacts video now instead of a podcast. It's a shame for the people listening on Spotify, but it is what it is.
Right, he's going for it on the Kemmel Straight.
Yep.
Oh, there's barely any room. Oh no, he's got a bit more room now. Ooh. That's a bit awkward. Let me watch that again. I don't have anything to say on that really, other than that's a bit awkward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very.
Take a second look at it. Do you know what the result of the stewards looking at it was?
No.
Okay.
Which is fun, so I'm going to make my own decision.
Yes,
right
you make your own decision. Watch it back as much as you need to.
And just as disclosure, I don't really know anything, so this is going to be on vibes only.
Yeah. So we've talked about enough incidents at this point. Go through it. Tell me what you think and what you would do as a steward. Whether that's penalty to either driver or nothing at all, and I'll tell you what happened. I'm curious to see what you think. There is a different view if you play it on after that at.
Yes, I'm seeing that.
What's that? 2:47 it starts, and you get a sort of different angle of the
I
incident.
would give a 5-second penalty to Charles Leclerc.
What was given was nothing.
Oh, okay. I feel like Leclerc left him no room and then just continued to kind of push him off a bit. I felt it was close. I would have been okay with no further action. I mean, I am okay with that. Like I nearly said no further action, but then I thought, to be honest, I think that Leclerc should have been a bit more graceful there. It wasn't very friendly.
So I'm looking at the 2:47 timestamp exactly, which is literally the frame that they touch.
Because every time we touch, I get this feeling.
And Oscar Piastri is fully on the circuit. He's got both of his outside wheels on the white line, but he's fully on the circuit, so he had plenty of room. Could have gone a little bit more on the curbs. That's allowed. So he had plenty of room. I think Leclerc left him enough room, and Piastri put himself in that situation.
Oh, interesting. You went the wrong way to me then.
However, I agree with what the stewards said in that Leclerc left him enough room. Piastri was not fully alongside, so the overtaking maneuver was never on. And I don't think he should have got a penalty. The reason that this is important and this incident is important for this race and this discussion is what happened to Lewis Hamilton earlier on in the race. Because he got a 5-second penalty when it should have been a racing incident. These were two racing incidents. In my opinion, there were two racing incidents. Neither of them deserved penalties, and yet only one of them got a penalty.
And it was on lap one.
Yeah.
Damn. I feel like Lewis Hamilton has really gone through it the last few years with penalties and punishments and
If
unfortunate scenarios in certain
if
countries.
if I was
You
to
know,
put my tinfoil hat on, and this is not an opinion, this is just a what could be happening, and I have no idea whether this is true or not. It feels like it might be a little bit targeted against Lewis Hamilton.
okay. Why do you think this?
Assuming you're looking for something a little bit deeper than racism. Because aside from the inconsistency of penalties being applied and just seemingly targeted against Hamilton himself, because I don't think anybody else in this entire race got a penalty, he is the only person who could surpass Michael Schumacher in terms of number of World Drivers' Championships, and then that would put a
The most successful Formula One driver is a black man,
yeah,
and they wouldn't want that because they're racist.
yeah, rich white man's club.
Exactly, and he's
And
threatening that and shaking it up.
That's just what it looks like on the outside. I don't know whether that's true or not. I have no idea.
No, it might even be like, and this is no better, but it might genuinely be like subconscious bias. Like they
Yeah,
genuinely might not even be aware that they're doing it,
yeah.
and just
But it's something that
yeah,
we've seen before, especially when he was in a more dominant car and the threat was there for him taking championships.
yeah.
But as soon as the car wasn't competitive, all of a sudden he didn't get any penalties. And I don't think that's a coincidence.
I'm wondering when we'll have the technology. I suggested this like 5 years ago, back when the whole Verstappen Hamilton controversy was happening. Like, you know, when there was all the incidents and people were debating and whatnot, and people were saying the stewards are biased one way and then saying they're biased the other way and blah 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 blah. And I was thinking, wouldn't it be great if there was a technology, and I know that they can do this, if they can fairly quickly, yeah, I know it's been 5 years.
Yeah.
But if they could come up with a technology that basically displays what happened but without seeing like the colors of the car or the color of the helmet.
So
Like basically just a neutral way to watch back the incident and decide without context, and have a separate group of stewards who are there to keep the integrity of the race alive. So they're not told how many laps are left. They're not told what
yeah.
this could mean for the championship. They're not told anything other than here is the incident. What should we do?
So before I reply to that, Jeremy, F1 VAR, they already do that. They just watch the video back with all the data and telemetry and all the other stuff. I think you're onto something. So you have your stewards room, and they get given the incident itself, no other information about what happened to the other cars or whether they retired or whatever.
Yeah.
Two neutral cars, nobody knows who they are, and then they just give out whatever penalties they feel like based on that. There cannot be any bias against anything then.
And they can't be watching the race. They can't be. So, like, I don't want it to impact anything.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want them to think, oh, it's just some
that
some guy that's not in the title fight. We'll let him off, or
yeah,
we'll just punish him. No one will care. Like
that would be a good way of judging it. The problem. So Cole said she would love to have someone who doesn't care for F1 but knows the rules be a steward. The problem with that is you need to understand racing and overtaking and all that stuff, and you tend to only get that from someone who's interested in racing and Formula One. So
you can't avoid Formula One in the motorsport circles.
Yeah, and as much as some people don't like Formula One but like motorsport, I don't think you're going to get someone to that level who doesn't have an interest in motorsport. It's a good idea, but I just don't think it would work in practice. I think yours is the more practical way of doing it. Of you're not watching the race, here's an incident. How would you view this incident?
I feel like it would give them faster response times as well. I feel like half the time I feel like the stewards are like, oh, we'll investigate this after race. I imagine them all in a room with a coffee with their feet up watching the rest of a race play out to see what they should do.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like,
Some
Like,
of
it's
the
really
some of the
annoying.
investigating after the race I do understand, because
Yeah.
if both drivers retire, there's no point in looking at
Oh
it now
yeah.
because it
Yeah.
doesn't make any difference. And there is an
But then when it's
incident
like,
further into this where they do look at something after the race because of the resulting penalty wasn't going to impact the race anyway, without
yeah,
giving
and I
you too
think
much
that's fair
information.
enough.
So I do think your way of doing it is probably the best way, unless anybody else has any other ideas. But I don't
Yeah, it was
think
probably
there's
about 5 years ago I came up with this because I was sick of everyone complaining about
I
bias, and I was like,
there
right, we need
there's
to fix this.
because that way you can have people that are biased, but they can't be biased because they have no idea who was driving.
Exactly.
You'd have to lock them in an isolated room so they without their phones or
Yeah,
something, so they can't see any of the race.
yeah. And that's like what, an hour and a half shift, 2 hours?
Up
Without their
to
phone, they'll be all right.
up to four,
Yeah,
maximum
and
four,
like,
isn't it?
yeah, and that's reasonable. Like,
Yeah,
that's
as long
fine.
as
Like,
take a game of chess in with them or something.
yeah, they
So
could even have a device. People don't need their phones; they'll be fine. I
no,
was gonna
take a
say, oh,
book.
yeah, like, yeah, take a book. Yeah, exactly. Like,
Fucking take a
put movie
DVD.
on. Yeah,
Take a DVD and watch another mill. Watch last week's
yeah,
race.
yeah.
There you go. You can watch last week's race and catch up on the race that you didn't watch last time. But yeah, I think that would be a working solution. I don't think that would be too difficult for them to do. If you watch Formula Drift, they have what they call a Wally system, which gets attached to the car, and it's basically data telemetry of speed and angle of the car as it's moving across the track, and they get instant replays of the same thing, a ghost car that
Mm,
they do apply colors to, but it's got all the slow down, acceleration, telemetry, and everything that goes with it. So it's absolutely possible, especially on these cars that already have all of the telemetry built into it. They just have to have a computer model that then takes all those inputs and recreates that in a 3D
yeah,
space.
and we've seen even YouTubers can do that. YouTubers
They
can
do
set
it
that
with
up.
plane crashes. So they take the black box
Yeah,
information, feed it into a computer, and it spits out exactly what happens in the last moments of a plane crash or a not crash, depending on what happened.
any
So
incident, an incident.
yeah, yeah. So I think that would work, but there's got to do. I, the stewards being biased has always been a thing for as long as motorsport has been a thing. It's just really rampant in Formula One because I think people with money get into these positions, and a good example was one of the stewards a couple of years ago was a Honda dealer who was the main sponsor of Red Bull. So you can't
Brilliant.
look at him and go, you are definitely not biased towards Red Bull at all.
Hmm.
It's just,
And you shouldn't be a steward in that
yeah.
circumstance.
And a lot of people said that, and lo and behold, he carried on being a steward. So, yeah. Let's continue on. Um, Stewards are going to be inconsistent. I don't think that's ever going to change.
Yeah.
I would love to see more consistency, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Can you lead? Because we are half an hour or more into this, and we are only on like lap
There's more.
whatever.
It's always like this. There's more to talk about at the
Lap
start of the
8.
race.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you continue to play on from that Piastri Leclerc incident, you're going to watch Hamilton pass Piastri down the Camel Straight. Now, this has always been a thing as long as we've had DRS of some description, or in this case, straight line mode, overtaking mode, and battery deployment and all that. Even without any of that stuff, the slipstream down the Camel Straight has always been insane. It's just the way that aerodynamic cars work. So
Yeah.
the fact that we saw people overtaking fairly easily in the way that they were throughout the entire race, all the way up and down the field, was not a surprise to literally anybody. But there were still people complaining about it. I find it a little interesting that people are just talking about the power unit and how easily people pass, but yet when a few years ago when we were talking about DRS, that wasn't a problem. It just doesn't make any sense. I feel like they're complaining about the power unit in this incident or in this instance for the sake of complaining about the power unit.
People love to moan. Moaning is so fun as well. I support people moaning, but
Yeah,
like, come on.
I I've said this before about the power units this year. We've seen all of the bits that are part of this exist in Formula One in some way before. So if you talk about the battery, for example, if we go way back to like I think it was 2010, 2011, the KERS system, kinetic energy recovery system. And this is basically a rudimentary form of exactly what they've got now. Every time they braked, they recovered energy, it went into a battery, and then they could deploy it. In that iteration, it was on a button, and they could deploy it wherever they wanted. But you had the penalty of carrying the extra weight of all the battery in the system and everything, because obviously everybody knows batteries are heavy. So that was the trade-off at that point. You didn't have to run it, but you could if you wanted to. So some teams ran it, some teams didn't, and it varied throughout the field. So you could get a punchy pass down a camel straight like this using the KERS system with all the battery that you'd stored up from the previous lap. But you then had the penalty of carrying all that. I think it was about 100 kilos or something like that. Yeah, 150
Kilos.
horsepower for 8 seconds every lap. So it wasn't in a small amount of gain,
It's a big
but you
game.
had the penalty of carrying that extra weight for the entire race. This is the same thing, but everybody has it, and it's just deployed automatically. That's the only difference.
Yeah.
The main thing is the super clipping, I think, is the main problem I have with the rule set of the drivers aren't braking for some of the big corners anymore. They just put their foot flat and the car will do the braking at the right point for them because it harvests enough energy in for further on in the race. 2010 KERS was banned, and 2011 every team bar Virgin and HRT had it. 2012, 2013, everyone had it. Yeah. So that would be the same as what we've got now. So the problem is the super clipping. I think that's the only thing that anybody really has a problem with. If they prevented the teams from super clipping, I don't think this power unit or this era of power unit would be a problem.
Yeah.
So,
I don't have much to say on tech stuff, but yeah.
but there's a lot of talk from this race of how easy the overtakes looked. But if you watch all of them, they're all down the Kemmel Straight. And if you watch last year's, they're all down the Kemmel Straight. And if you watch the year before, they're all down the Kemmel Straight. It's like
It's a Spa
that's the Spa
moment.
thing. The other place that people are overtaking are into the bus stop chicane, because that's one of the sort of big braking zones on the circuit. But that was basically it. Yeah. Let's move on, because I'm just doing a love to moan and rant about things. So I
With people.
Yeah, I just carried on playing. There's a handful of overtakes into the bus stop chicane, into the down the Kemmel Straight. A few pit stops that put Norris all the way up to P4. And Norris and Piastri started having a on-track battle, which was interesting. So we're at 3 minutes and 48 at this point. Norris comes up behind Piastri. Piastri's still on his original mediums from the start of the race, and Norris is on his hards because he hasn't stopped yet. Passes Piastri, and then
Live Lucy reaction.
everyone thinks that
I
that
got
was
an ad, by the way.
everyone think on the face of it, it looks like McLaren has said to Piastri, "Look, let Norris through. He's on a different strategy to you. Don't hold him up." We go up the Kemmel Straight, and Piastri breezes back past him. So they were just genuinely fighting for position. And then we get up to 4 minutes and 15. So I'll let you catch up, because you had to go through the ad.
Oh, it's a Marshall.
Yes. This, I think, and I said this to my friends, the VSC is one of the best things that Formula One have ever added in the last 20 years. In this incident, within the space of, I think it was about 20 to 30 seconds, the VSC comes out, the debris on track is recovered, and the track goes green again before any of the leaders get anywhere close to the pit lane. If you look at the... I'm paused at 4 minutes and 15. You've got one of the Aston Martins is in the pit. You can see the little track map in the top right-hand corner.
I think
all
the
of the
Ferraris
cars,
make it to the pits.
all of the cars are on the other side of the circuit.
Mm.
I think they threw this out deliberately so that the VSC had as little impact on the actual race and strategy as possible.
Yes.
This one is, if I've paused it again at 4 minutes 20, this is the second one. So they did this twice in the entire race. So the first one, nobody got to the pit lane. The second one, the leaders just about got around to the pit lane when the VSC was still out. So Leclerc, Hamilton, Piastri, I think a few others pitted at this point. I think Hadjar pitted here as well from 7th. Yeah, because this is their Ferrari's first stops because Hamilton's serving his 5-second penalty. Norris didn't pit, which was kind of weird, but he ended up in the lead.
I'm hearing from Jeremy that Bortoletto also pitted.
Yes, yeah, quite a few people pitted. So at this point in time, Piastri, Hamilton, Hadjar, Bortoletto, Hulkenberg are all in the pits. I think most of the entire field came in. And then the VSC ended again within about a minute or so. That one was a little bit longer. But I think the first deployment of it was fantastic purely because it didn't impact the race. Pit stop time in Spa is usually a lot lower than most tracks. With the VSC, it's just above 20 seconds. Yeah, the pit stop loss depends on the track. Silverstone's a good example because you skip the last 2 corners to come into the pits. So you can carry a little bit more speed. So the pit stop loss time overall is slightly better. So yeah, we go back to green flag racing. Lap 23 at 4 minutes 58. We now got Norris leading on his old hard tyres. Leclerc in second, who leapfrogged Antonelli in the pit stops because I think Antonelli took a green flag pit stop and Leclerc didn't. He took a VSC pit stop.
Yeah.
So he managed to leap Antonelli in the pits. And then Leclerc makes light work of Norris because Norris is on old hard tyres. Again, down the Camel Straight, as expected, he just breezes past him because he's carried so much more speed through Eau Rouge and out of turn 1. And that was kind of that. And then Antonelli does exactly the same thing. Norris is kind of sliding back down the field, but he's on a completely different strategy at this point. Started 13th on the grid after taking a new power unit, so 10 place grid penalty. So he was in damage limitation mode, I think they call it usually. Oh, look, a midfield battle. So
hey, go Liam.
We're 5 minutes 36 into this highlight reel. Didn't catch what that was. We're lap 30 is where we are. And it's Liam Lawson on both Alpines. Both Alpines came past him. Just either side. Nice. Just either side.
Very
and
dainty.
He came back around one of them. I'm not sure who they are. I don't know which is which. But this is proof of the race direction. Because they can't put any highlights of any of the midfield battles in because there weren't any. They didn't film any. They didn't put any of it on the live broadcast. We're nearly done with the highlights. We got to lap 30 before we saw any midfield battle that wasn't in lap 1. Which is insane.
They are battling.
So
it's not like they're not battling.
Yeah, exactly. So there is stuff to see. They just didn't show it. There was a few picture-in-picture modes, on the timing tree where they put the small thing in. So I think Lindblad and Lawson were both fighting each other quite hard on the first couple of laps. But none of it was shown on TV. So yeah, lap 31, Norris comes in for his first stop and has a slow stop. his, left rear, I think, got stuck. So he had a bit of a slow stop. And then lap 34, we're at 6 minutes and 3 seconds. Yeah, 6 minutes and 3. Antonelli goes for the lead. So we'd been watching the camera TV direction had just stayed on this for the entire time. Antonelli was just catching on Leclerc lap on lap. Same thing as they both did to Norris on Old Hards. Down the Kemmel straight, just breezed past him.
Ram Tam Tamo has finally made it for one of our podcasts.
It seems to be a lot
very
slower than it
exciting.
was. Fast and so slow on ring, but it's take longer. Spa is a driving circuit, not a racing circuit for F1. Yeah.
It's a good take. It's a good take. I'm gonna say it. Yeah.
It's the problem with most Formula One races is all the action happens in the first sort of 10 laps, and then everyone goes, right, what's our strategy from this point? And everything sort of settles down, and then it's all strategy from that point forward. There's not a great deal of on-track action once you get past that, sort of, especially when you had your first stops. So the action feels slow. So we're continuing on to where are we?
Dan says Spa is a circuit where it's supposed to rain or be somewhat wet.
Yeah, it does normally rain, but we're in
Let
the
me
middle
tell
of a
you,
heat
it
wave.
rained 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, it rained.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing. A dry Spa.
Yeah, apparently we had this with
Spas are meant to get wet.
We had this with Suzuka. Was it Suzuka last year? Yeah, it was Suzuka last year. We had one of the dullest races that we've ever had at Suzuka because it was dry. Because they moved it away from the rainy season. So
Suzuka's a good track as well. I love Suzuka.
Yeah. So lap 40 at 6 minutes 27. You can see how the action disappears the further into this because we do big lap skips. 6 minutes 27. We've got Hamilton on Piastri. So obviously at this point Hamilton is further down the field than he should be because he's had his 5-second penalty. And at the end of the Kemmel straight, he breezes past Piastri as usual.
Yeah.
And then lap 44, we are done. And Antonelli takes the win, followed by Leclerc and Verstappen. There was a bit of talk towards the end of the race with Hamilton was catching Verstappen, so it looked like the podium still would have been on for Hamilton. He finished 5.6 seconds behind Verstappen, so without the penalty, it would have been really close, I think. Or it might have been different. It would have been easier for Hamilton to get the podium, that's for sure. So, dry and cold at Suzuka, which made strategy irrelevant, which is, spot on. I think also Spa feels slow because we're going to do 44 laps. Whereas you go to Monaco, because that's a short circuit, it's 72, I think Monaco is. I think Silverstone's the same because Silverstone and Spa are both really long circuits. The lap count's quite low, so it does feel quite slow. 78, there you go, 78 for Monaco. They do the same distance, so when you watch Monaco, you have all that action unfold, and you look up and you're like, oh, we're 20 laps in. You do that Spa, we're like 5 laps in. Yeah. So it's twice as many laps for...
And that's why they do
Monaco
that thing at Spa, don't they? Where they, like, rather than doing a full in-lap, they just go...
Yeah, because it's so long. They come in... Yeah, they do. They go around, then they come in the pit exit, I think.
Yeah.
And that's why there's a shot at the end of all the cars facing the wrong way, which is kind of comical.
And that's why Russell got disqualified, I think, last time, because he didn't pick up as much debris as he normally would.
Yeah, that's the thing. So to meet the minimum weight, just to be a little bit technical for everybody, when they finish the race, they all have to be weighed to make sure they meet the minimum race requirements, and that's one of the reasons they also have to have the 1 litre of fuel remaining in the system so they can just test it. Basically make sure they're not cheating. I find it
Yeah.
interesting that
Normally they go and pick up bits of
like tired,
rubber and stuff that
yeah,
they've
and they.
grained off during the race. They go and put it back.
But I don't think I could be wrong, but I thought the stewards can just put a fresh set of Pirellis on and weigh it without all of that pickup.
I don't know. Oh, Ram Tam Tam has got some information.
They've
They've
taken
taken
tyres out of the
tires
way
out
now.
of the way.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe that's what you were thinking of.
Yeah, they use the standard weight of a new set as opposed to the tyres they wear at the end. Yeah, so they just take whatever's on, just put a standard set of tyres on and weigh it with them on. So
That makes
that's not
sense.
a thing anymore. I think it was. I think you are right. That's what they used to do, but I don't think it's a thing anymore.
Yeah.
Do they display the? Yeah, here we go. I never noticed this before, but it might not. This might be new for the highlights, but they've got the standings at the end of the highlights.
I
So it's
think they
7
always have
minutes
had
and
that.
50.
I'm sure they've had
Maybe I've
that.
just missed it.
Ram Tam Tammer says this tyre thing is new for the set of regulations. That
Oh,
makes
okay.
sense.
That makes sense. So yeah, drivers' championship. Kimi Antonelli at 204. Hamilton is now second at 159, and he is 5 points clear of George Russell at 154 in third place. This is turning into a 3-horse championship almost. Leclerc is lagging behind now at 126. But I am kind of surprised that Norris and Piastri are 103 and 92 respectively in cars that didn't start. Neither of them started China, and I think Norris didn't start Australia, or he retired very early. I can't remember.
Yeah.
So that's and then Verstappen is on 91, so 1 point behind Piastri. So yeah, it's getting. Antonelli is walking away with it again. He's late night maths. So 45 points clear. Yes,
Dan says, I think Leclerc can come back in it. I think it's unlikely for either Ferrari, but Leclerc is improving.
We have to bear in mind we're 10 races into the season, so we're basically halfway because we're expecting the other Middle East races not to go ahead. Unconfirmed, but the war is still going on. We've got some more Middle Eastern races, so it's likely that they won't go ahead, although there is some talk of them replacing those 2 races, so maybe this still will happen, but minimum 22, I think. 22? 20. Minimum 20 races, I think. But we'll find out when we get there. I don't think nobody's made a call yet. Essentially, we're about halfway, and nobody's out of this yet because a Hamilton win and an Antonelli retirement closes the gap to less than 1 win. It'll close it to what, 20 points? It's not over. We've got all of the reliability. This is these are brand new regulations. They're brand new power units, and we are expecting to have some failures towards the end of the season. Mercedes have had some already. McLaren have had some already.
Yeah.
The odds are that people are going to retire towards the end of the season. So, it's not over. I think this championship may well be decided, and not for the first time, by reliability. 2 back-to-back retirements from Antonelli, and he's not leading the championship anymore at this point. So it's not over till it's over.
So stay tuned, people. Stay tuned.
Ram Tam Tammer is still talking about the calendar. There is some talk of Portimao and Turkey replacing the 2 Middle Eastern races, but nothing's been confirmed. Everything is all rumours. I don't think F1 themselves have said anything about any of this. I think it's just one of those. There's some news outlet has gone, there's still a war. We might cancel those. Or they might cancel those. So, who knows?
They might cancel those. Here are tracks that F1 hasn't been to recently.
Yeah, they've. Yeah, Malaysia. I doubt they'll go back to Malaysia. It would be nice. I'd love to see Malaysia back on the calendar. It's a fantastic circuit. Sepang circuit is such a good circuit. Right, let's look at our fantasy league. This is Formula 1 Fantasy.
Did Dan join? Did he join?
He did. So this is on the official Formula One website, so fantasy.formula1.com. There's links in descriptions and whatnot for a joining link if anybody would like to join us. There are now 20 of us. We've gone up because Dan has now finally built a team. I'm going to look at the Belgian Grand Prix results first, so isolated just the points. Top 3, I've got Maggie No, Charlie Lambert, and then me equal second. So we had an equal second place. Lucy, you are 12th. So
Okay.
you were only, what's that, 44 points behind me. You are one whole Lewis Hamilton behind me.
A whole Lewis Hamilton behind.
And then, unfortunately, Dan had a bit of a nightmare with his picks. So he did come last, but he picked, he picked George Russell on double points, which meant he got double negatives. And he also picked Sergio Perez, who also retired, so he got more negatives. So that was just unfortunate on his picks for that.
Dan,
so
there's only one way from here. One way you can go, and that is up.
Yeah, Lucy was last
Just
at
like
the start
me.
of the season anyway. So
just like me.
There's also
first challenge.
There's also no pressure on Dan, purely because he started in the middle of the season. So he's never ever going to catch everybody else up who's been in from the start. So
this can be his learning one.
Yeah, exactly. You've got the rest of the half, the other half, second half of the season. Words are hard to catch everybody else up. Our top 3 overall remains the same. Nick is still out in front. I am still in second place, and then we've got Far Too Cool in third. I am, however, catching Nick up. I am 16 points behind Nick. Somehow, I have managed to catch him up. I think the minus 11 from George Russell on his team has helped me quite dramatically there. I have been consistently outscoring him, but he had such a large lead. Lucy, you are now down to 8th. So you've dropped a couple of places.
That's fine. I'll take 8th. I'm still in the points.
It varies every race depending on who you've got, because obviously you can't pick the best team every time without micromanaging it, and we're not doing that. And obviously Dan is down in last because he's 750 points off 19th place. He's just not going to catch anyone up, unfortunately. So it's getting our little league is not over yet either. As much as the Formula One World Championship is not over, our little league is not over either. It's
everything to play for.
There's quite a lot of people running sort of similar level on points, so it's all to play for. Links in descriptions. If you're watching on YouTube,
is asking how many points they dropped.
There's links to join in the description. I am going to drop the link into Twitch chat.
How many points did Mac drop?
Where are you?
We love Mac.
Mac was top 3 at one point, I think. There he is, 5th place. You are 5th place currently. You dropped 17 points with Cadillac, which would be all Perez.
Oh, Sergio Checo Perez.
Yeah, some of it's luck of the draw because Nick had George Russell, who was running top 3 at one point, but because he retired, he lost 11 points, and sometimes that's just how it goes. That's racing, as everybody knows. So, yeah. We have one more race before the summer break. We are down to Hungary, 24th, 26th July. That's this coming weekend if you're watching us live or within the few days that we've published this on YouTube. We then have a break for about 4 weeks or so, and then it's down to the last one of Zandvoort, Netherlands. That's the last race there before we switch to Turkey. We're switching that race to?
I don't know.
Can't remember. Doesn't matter. So, yeah.
But I'm going to be at Zandvoort.
Yeah, Lucy will be at that race, so you've got no excuse for not watching the race this time.
Yeah, well, actually, I only have a ticket for the Friday and Saturday, so okay. I have excuses.
So you're going to be near the circuit while the race is on.
I'm planning to try and find somewhere like near the beach to watch it where I can hear the cars. I'm hoping that'll be really fun.
Yeah, fair enough.
But we'll see. You know, if any brands out there want to take me on the Sunday.
Yeah. Okay, right. That's all we've got for this week. We will see you in a week's time for the Hungarian Grand Prix.
Are you feeling hungry after that spa day? I know I am. So tune in next time on Tuesday, and we will be back with another episode of the Formation Lab.